What's going on? Dylan Conrad, Metabolic AF. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to get a cover model physique in 2024. Welcome to the podcast, YouTube, DC Fitness. Our whole mission is to create a program so simple that anyone can get results and teach our clients how to lose 1 to 3 pounds of fat per week while eating desserts, drinking alcohol, living a lifestyle, and never having to count another calorie ever again. So in terms of building a cover model physique, if you look at pick up a cover of Men's Health or Women's Health, what you are going to see is very lean people and very muscular people, men and women, right? And so our goal is to lose as much body fat as we can and build as much muscle as we can, right? For women, probably around 14 to 16% body fat. That's kind of more measured on a DEXA, which is more precise. For men, you're looking about between 9 to 11% body fat. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, first of all, what you don't want to do, because this will crush all your gains, is basically just starve yourself to lose your body fat. Because what's going to happen at that point is your metabolism is going to be down-regulated, which is going to cause you to trigger and gain the weight back. Your hunger hormones and ghrelin and leptin are going to be all over the place and going to cause you to overeat once you get your body fat off. And the other thing that's going to happen is you're going to lose all your muscle, right? If you're losing probably more than 1% of your body weight per week, that's when you start cutting into muscle stores as energy for fuel, for calories, right? And so that's what you don't want to do, is just crash diet. The other thing you don't want to do is crash exercise. What I mean by that is just do a ton of cardio, do a ton of weightlifting, overexhaust yourself, overtrain, which will cause you to basically negate any muscle growth you would see, because I was talking about this in the last episode, but your results aren't going to be within that training session. Your results are going to be in between those training sessions. For example, if you did a deadlift with 225 pounds during your workout, you're not going to be able to deadlift 315 pounds during that same workout. You're going to have to, but obviously you can go up between exercises. That's when strength and muscle adaptations and stuff like that happens, right? And so recovery is going to be key. If we look at the whole hierarchy of just results in general, right? Number one is recovery, right? Because that's where your results are going to be in terms of your metabolism, physiological processes that are responsible for mobilizing fat, your strength gains, your muscle gains. Those are going to happen in between your workouts, and how well you recover between those workouts is going to elicit like a stronger response, right? So if you don't recover as well, you're not going to get as strong as if you did recover well. So how do we recover well? One is obviously getting sufficient amount of sleep, 7 to 9 hours per night. The other thing is making sure the quality of your sleep is okay, right? Making sure that you're, getting into deep REM, making sure that you're having the right supplementation, both in the evening and at night. Our clients, we put them on Prestige Labs, Burn PM and Sleep Multiplier. Burn PM really helps them relax, and then Sleep Multiplier helps you get deeper sleep. I would honestly go with GABA, which is a pretty cheap option, about $13 at about 5-6 p.m. GABA chew, probably about 250 milligrams, and then take some sort of sleep supplement to make sure you're getting very, very deep sleep, going into that rest and digest, very deep parasympathetic nervous system response, right? And so that's recovery. Keeping your stress levels low, making sure when you're working out, that's your intensity, but on the off times, that's like your down period, right? So if there's things that are causing you stress, try to eliminate them or minimize them as much as you can. The next chain is what we're going to look at is energy intake. So how many calories do you need to be eating to build muscle and lose body fat? So in terms of making sure, well, the calories are more going to be towards, actually they're for both. There are going to be times throughout the cycle for 2024, if this is what you're trying to get in terms of a cover model physique, that you're going to have to be in a calorie surplus and a calorie maintenance and a calorie deficit, right? When do you want to be in a surplus? Well, that's when you want to really maximize your muscle gains, when you want to be in a deficit, when you want to maximize your body fat loss, right? And so how many calories should you be eating for gaining and losing weight? I would start with just a really soft 200, 300 calorie deficit, or a 200 to 300 calorie surplus, Or if you don't want to put any body fat on when you are building that muscle and you're okay doing a little bit slower, then you would go on maintenance. But how do I set my calories? Do I use an online calculator? No, I don't like those. I think they're bullshit. There's too much variability in terms of how you're measuring food, in terms of like how you're inputting it into MyFitnessPal. There can be, there's up to like 70% variability. So that's something to take into account. The other thing is everyone's metabolism is way different, and just because they have your age, height, and weight doesn't mean they'll be able to give you your basal metabolic rate, right? So what I like to do, and what we have our clients do, is we have them weigh themselves every single day for 3 weeks, get their averages from week to week, and we kind of and tell them not to stuff or not starve. We take their average calories, we take their average weight from week to week, and we kind of see what the trends are and what those are looking like. If we see someone who's dropping some body fat and weight, and the progress pictures look, that like they're losing body fat, then we can say, okay, this person's in a deficit, right? If they're losing weight too fast, more than 1% per week, then we could be like, okay, this is too steep of a deficit, we need to come up. If it's someone that is just maintaining, then they're eating out of calorie maintenance, and someone that's gaining weight, they'd be a surplus. So that's how we use those numbers, and we use that weight. The third part you want to set is your protein intake. So how much protein should you be taking in? For women, 0.6 to 1.1 grams per pound of body weight. For men, it's more like 0.8 to 1.4 grams per pound of body weight. And so that's how you set your protein, right? And then we look at your carbs and fats. Actually, before we get into carbs and fats, then we look into your exercise routine, right? The best is going to be about 3 to 5 days per week, a combination of lifting and also cardio, right? If you are doing, you do want to cycle your cardio with a mixture of high intensity intervals. So like Tabata protocol, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. In terms of if you're doing like a resistance bike, you would crank that up as high as you can in terms of the resistance, sprint as hard as fast as you can for 20 seconds, then take the resistance off and pedal moderately. So that would be more a high intensity interval training. Pedaling on a bike for about 30 minutes, getting your heart rate above about 130 beats per minute, trying to stay around there. That's gonna be more of your steady state cardio. Your weight training, you could do a push-pull legs, you could do body part splits, whatever it is. The main thing with your training is it is about the programming that you set up, but it's more about how you push into failure. So what failure is basically when your muscle cannot perform another rep. So for example, if you're doing something like a leg extension at the gym and you're extending your legs and your quads start burning, you're still going, and you can still lift your legs and you're still going, but once you cannot lift your legs, you still shoot for another rep and you come down. And so that's what complete failures, that's gonna be the biggest thing that's going to be, aside from your protein intake, be important for building muscle, right? So going deep into failure, how intensely you're training. The last thing is gonna be your carbs and fats. So the last thing is gonna be food typology, which I'm not gonna cover because it's not that important. Just eat mostly anti-inflammatory foods. But the second to last thing that's gonna be important is your carb and fat balance. Now this is more important for women. This is like the female specific physiology, whether you're on birth control, hormonal IUD, you have a regular menstrual cycle, perimenopausal, postmenopausal. You're gonna wanna use your carbs and fats to line up with what your physiology is presenting in that phase of your life, right? If you're a guy, you can actually use this to your advantage of doing carb loading, carb cycling, excuse me. So on days you're working out, you increase carbohydrates. On days you're not working out, you decrease carbohydrates. Pretty simple to do. You can use about 25% of fat, 25% of your overall volume of food going towards fat. When you're trying to do a little higher carb, and when you're trying to lower carb, 35% of fat of overall intake coming from that. So that's how to build a carb model physique. Obviously it's going to be, you're going to need to measure your progress throughout the whole thing. Make sure you're tracking your data, make sure you're tracking your progress pictures every single week, probably getting a DEXA scan at least once a month and seeing how you're progressing, and using parts of the year to build muscle and parts of the year to burn body fat. So for someone who's just starting and say you have a lot of body fat to lose, I would go into a cut, try to get as deep as you can. Don't go more than 6 months. And then I would do a bulk after that in terms of like eating at maintenance or surplus calories to put some more muscle mass on. And then just kind of rinse and repeat and just figure out what your weakest link is. Do I need to burn body fat now? Or do I need to build muscle? But don't jump in between, right? Have dedicated 3-month to 6-month blocks for each, and you should be good to go. So anyways, hope this helps. Love y'all and enjoy the rest of your day.